Hello and welcome. Here at EBTD, our whole mission is to connect solid, global research with the day-to-day realities of teaching right here in Bangladesh. In this explainer, we're going to dive into one of the most powerful tools you have in your classroom, and that's talk. We'll explore how we can help transform that quiet listening into active, visible thinking, giving you practical, evidence-based strategies every single step of the way.
Let's just start with this one big idea. Ask yourself this: if a student can't explain a concept in their own words, have they really, truly learned it? The research on this is so clear. Talk isn't just another classroom activity, it's literally the sound of thinking happening out loud.
So let's talk about the challenge of silence. If you walk into a typical classroom in Bangladesh, you'll probably see a scene you know really well. The teacher at the front explaining, and the students listening. And you know what? That makes sense. It's orderly, it's respectful, and it's a very practical way to handle the pressure of big classes and a packed curriculum. But while it's efficient, it's also very one-directional.
And look, this isn't just a hunch. It's backed up time and again by local research. Studies from BRAC, Campy, and the English in Action Project all point to the exact same conclusion. The teacher does most, if not all, of the talking. Now, this isn't a criticism of teachers at all. It's a completely logical adaptation when you're trying to manage a class with 70 or more students. But this leads to a really important trade-off. We have to talk about the hidden cost of all that silence. A quiet classroom might be great for covering content and helping students remember facts, but it often stops right there. It stops short of that deeper learning, the kind that involves real reasoning and problem solving. For that to happen, we have to find a way to make all that hidden thinking visible.
Okay, so we've identified the challenge. Now let's get to the exciting part. Why talk is the key that unlocks learning. There is powerful international evidence that shows shifting toward more classroom dialogue is one of the single highest impact changes a teacher can possibly make. And the benefits of making this shift? They're huge. Top-tier researchers and institutions like the Education Endowment Foundation have found that when students get to engage in structured talk, their reasoning gets better, their motivation goes up, and their language skills just explode. But maybe most importantly for us as teachers, their misunderstandings suddenly become visible.
If you need just one number to really grasp the impact, here it is. The Education Endowment Foundation has found that effective oral language strategies can add up to 6 months of learning progress in a single year. Just let that sink in for a second. 6 months. That's not a small improvement. That's a truly transformative result, and it's absolutely achievable. I love this metaphor. For teachers, classroom talk becomes a formative mirror. Think about it. When you're just lecturing, you can only hope your students are getting it. But when they start talking, you can actually hear what they're thinking. You can hear their logic, their gaps, their misconceptions. It all comes out in real time. It's like a mirror reflecting their understanding back to you, and it lets you adapt your teaching on the spot. Okay, so this all sounds fantastic in theory, right? But what about the reality of a classroom with 60 students and heavy benches that don't move? I get it. The first barrier to talk is often just the physical space. So we have to start by getting the structure right. And the solution here is actually beautifully simple. You don't need to completely redesign your classroom. You just need 2 clear modes. First, there's home mode. That's your standard setup. Students facing forward, perfect for teacher-led instruction. Then there's active mode. This is the simple, quick shift where students just turn to face each other for a discussion. This tiny physical change signals a huge mental shift. But, and this is the key, for this to really work, that transition has to become a super fast, predictable routine. You have to practice it with your students. Make it a drill. Okay, active mode. Practice it until that switch takes less than 20 seconds. It's that predictability that creates the psychological safety students need to feel comfortable and start speaking. All right, so once we have the physical structure in place, we can't just tell our students, okay, now discuss. Most of the time, they don't actually know how to have a productive academic conversation. So the next critical step is for us, the teachers, to explicitly model what good talk actually looks and sounds like. The very first skill we need to model is active listening. A teacher can do this just by paraphrasing what a student says before they respond. Something like, okay, so you're saying the main character was motivated by fear. Did I get that right? That simple move teaches students to listen to understand, not just to wait for their turn to talk. Next up, we have to make the structure of an argument visible. You can think out loud for them. Say something like, I think this will happen because of that. And then you point it out directly to the class. Everyone, did you hear that word? Because? That little word is the engine of our reasoning today.
This one is so important for creating a safe classroom. You have to teach students a sentence stem for disagreeing with ideas, not with people. You can say, watch how I challenge this idea politely. I see it differently because the data shows. This gives them the exact words they need to have a real debate without it turning into a conflict.
So we've covered the core ideas of structure and modeling. But the big question is, how do you actually do this day in and day out? Well, to answer that, we've put everything together into our free EBTD guide to classroom talk. Think of it as a practical, evidence-based roadmap designed specifically for you, the educators in Bangladesh. Let's just take a quick peek inside. The guide really walks you through the whole process. We start with the local research, then we move to the physical structure and how to model talk. Then we show you how to embed these skills into your actual lesson plans. There are even sections for school leaders on how to build a supportive culture and a final roadmap to make sure the change really sticks.
And we really did design this guide to be useful for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a teacher looking for one new routine to try tomorrow or a school leader who's developing a long-term vision. You are going to find practical tools, routines, and reflection questions that are tailored to your specific role. So, we want to leave you with this final question. Remember, you don't have to change everything all at once. What is one small step you can take tomorrow? Maybe it's just practicing that active mode transition, or maybe it's modeling a single I think because sentence. How will you begin making thinking visible in your classroom?